Tonight, intense wind across the inland northwest. Some regions saw gusts as strong as 70 miles per hour. Those strong winds brought down trees and signs, and along with that wind also came the rain tonight. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM News at 10 tonight. I'm Mark Hanrahan. We want to start right away with the weather tonight to give you the latest information about this wind. Let's get straight to meteorologist Thomas Patrick tonight. Thomas, is the worst of the wind now behind us?
Yeah, that worst of the wind occurred at around 5 to 6 o'clock earlier today, right at the point of attack of a cold front that was moving through. But it is still pretty windy outside tonight. So update from the National Weather Service is that the high wind warnings have been allowed to expire, but wind advisory is now extended until midnight as we still deal with generally 40 to 45 mile per hour winds for a couple more hours here. A lot of the strongest wind gusts in that 50 mile per hour range, and we did get reports upwards of 60 miles per hour, which is considered on the severe side. This is what did a lot of damage in terms of tree damage and power line damage across the region. Wind gusts of 72 miles per hour in Athol, Idaho, with 63 mile per hour wind gusts experienced in Pullman, Washington. So quite windy out there for earlier today. But the worst is behind us. That front is well off to the east, but those windy conditions will stay in that 30 to 40 mile per hour range all the way until tomorrow morning. Thankfully, it shouldn't be as damaging. The power outages should lessen into the night, thankfully, but we will be dealing with a much colder day along with the winds come tomorrow. So we're tracking all of that in your week ahead.
I'll talk to you a little bit later in the broadcast. Thank you, Thomas. Well, taking a look now at our current power outages across the inland northwest. We'll start with Northern Lights. They're reporting about 7,000 people in the dark at this hour. Most of the outages we're seeing right there are in northern Idaho, as you can see. All right, switching now to Avista. Right now, they are reporting more than 18,000 customers without power right now. Those outages are scattered both across Washington and North Idaho right now. Okay, now to Kootenai Electric. More than 3,000 customers are without power there. Those outages are scattered from Post Falls up to Athol. And let's take a look at Inland Power right now. About 3,000 customers without power for them. The majority of their outages are in Stevens and Bonner counties tonight. Well, this evening our crews tracked down some of the damage left in the wake of the windstorm on the South Hill. A tree fell on Bernard Street and blocked traffic for about a half an hour before crews got it cleaned up. That tree nearly hit a car parked on the street. The Spokane Fire Department and city crews, as you can see, responded and blocked off the area until that tree could be cleared from the road. Now, we talked to the owner of the car who described the moment he realized that tree in his front yard had uprooted.
Well, actually, the dog started barking. I heard a little swoosh, a little bang. It was slight, but having dealt with that last January, I knew something was wrong. So we went outside. I saw what you see.
Good news is nobody was hurt. The tree took down some power lines with it, which is a good reminder to avoid those down lines if you see them and instead call 911. By the way, if you see any trees blocking the roadways, you are encouraged to call 311. Also, over in Post Falls tonight, several trees came down under those high winds. 3 trees came down at the intersection of 2nd Avenue and Greens Ferry Road. When crews were trying to clean up the trees, another tree hit a power line and caused sparks to fly. The city has also seen a power pole come down on Milan Avenue after multiple intersections had no traffic lights due to widespread power outages tonight. All right, here closer to home, want to see your photos and videos from today's strong wind. So if you are in a safe place to send them, please do so. You can send them using the Near Me section of the KREM 2 app or just text them our way at 509-448-2000. Your photos might end up right here on our broadcast. And you can always check KREM.com for the latest weather forecast. Our team is working around the clock tonight to make sure that you are getting the most up-to-date, accurate forecast of the winds. Well, the wind didn't just knock down trees, it also damaged Spokane's iconic Fox Theater. New at 10 tonight, Kyle Simchuk joins us live from the newsroom tonight to show us what happened. Kyle?
Well, yeah, Mark, the next time you drive past the Fox Theater, you might notice something. The O on one side of the large tower sign is missing. The gusty winds ripped it off and sent the O flying into the busy intersection below at Sprague and Monroe. Now, no one was hurt, but the big piece of metal could have seriously injured or killed someone. The theater's general manager, Brian Ritter, said it took 3 people to drag it off the road.
Yeah, thankfully no one was hurt. It ended up falling into an empty part of the street, and yeah, there were no injuries. Honestly, we may have to remove the whole tower and have it replaced. We'll have to see what happens.
Now, the theater still had a show tonight, but staff put up yellow caution tape around the sidewalk just to be safe in case other metal debris fell. Now, the Fox Theater was built in 1931 during the dark days of the Depression. It featured the most advanced movie technology of the day and was the first air-conditioned building in Spokane. The sign damaged this evening is not the original one. This tower was installed in 2007. Mark.
Al, thank you very much. And take a look at this video tonight. Our own Travis Green was out in Sandpoint. Well, this is not the video, but he was out in Sandpoint watching the Bulldogs at one of their practices before the upcoming state championship game. Okay, here we go. As you can see, the conditions were rainy and windy over in Sandpoint as well. Imagine practicing in those conditions tonight. Well, the Spokane City Council unanimously approved using more than $800,000 in grant money to bolster their regional behavioral health unit. The grant money comes from the Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs. The money will pay for 1 Spokane County deputy, 2 Spokane police officers, and 3 Frontier behavioral health workers to join the behavioral health unit. This will increase from the number of responding units to the team from 4 to 7. The behavioral health unit responds to calls when someone might be experiencing a mental health crisis in the community. And so far, SPD says that unit has been successful. A new vaccine mandate went into effect today in Washington. Now proof of a vaccination card or negative COVID test are required at any large event. This mandate applies to all ticketed or registered events like conventions, concerts, sporting events, fairs, theme parks, and more. It includes everyone 12 years old and older. The mandate applies to indoor events with more than 1,000 people. The order is also for outdoor events with 10,000 or more attendees. It does not include religious services or kindergarten through 12th grade school events. Governor Jay Inslee announced the mandate last month after a surge of COVID-19 cases.
We cannot and we will not surrender to this disease. We cannot and we will not think that the status quo is good enough. We have got to get on top of this disease and knock these numbers down.
For more information on how to get the COVID-19 vaccine for children, just text vaccine to 509-448-2000 and we'll send that link directly to your phone. Well, the vaccine mandate for state workers has boosted the vaccination rate at Washington State University. More than 94% of WSU employees are now fully vaccinated. The school says just 3% have received a religious exemption and 1% have received medical exemptions. The rest have already initiated the vaccination process. The university says it only had to terminate employment with 23 employees for non-compliance or inability to accommodate an exemption. Today we are learning more about the threat that closed all Spokane public libraries over the weekend. The libraries were closed Saturday and Sunday after the city received threats from social media. Today we learned the person who allegedly made those threats was having a mental health crisis. Police officers and clinicians with the behavioral health unit found the person and took them to a medical facility for a full mental health evaluation. All branches were back open today. After going missing more than a week ago, the body of a Seattle deputy fire chief has been found. According to the Kittitas County Sheriff's Office, Jay Schreckengast, his body was discovered near Cliffdale. That's about a half a mile from where his pickup was parked the day he left to scout for elk. As of right now, there was no preliminary evidence of suspicious activity or foul play, according to authorities. Today, the trial began for 3 major opioid distributors being sued by the state of Washington. The suit alleges the companies filled thousands of suspicious orders, which likely ended up with drug dealers. Attorney General Bob Ferguson claims the companies sent more than 2 billion opioid pills into the state over an 8-year period. We'll have more about the trial coming up in our broadcast tomorrow. Also coming up, intense flooding over on the west side of the state. When we come back, we'll show you images from Mount Vernon where a civil emergency has been declared tonight.